Apple launched its version of a mobile wallet called Apple Pay using technology called Near Field Communications, or NFC. We tried it out at a San Francisco Whole Foods. When you bring your phone to the register's reader, it automatically pulls up one of your stored credit cards. Simply verify with your fingerprint, you pay, and then you receive a message confirmation.
Everything from those who would seek to own every slice of information about us and tell us it's all about convenience at the checkout lane, to what goes into our gas tanks. Let's wage a little war here, shall we? Nothing of the sort involving something as crude as military weapons, ordnance tanks, but let's use what's right under our noses, under our feet, and right in our hands. Dig in for what will be an extended conflict with our friends and frenemies. All right, let's get to it. Welcome back to MidPoint. The chairman and CEO of Patriarch Equity and digitalmarketing.com, Eric Schiffer, joins us on the show. Eric, good to see you again.
Good to see you, my friend. How are you?
I'm excellent. I do not have Apple Pay because I do not have an iPhone just yet, but I think that possibly if I don't go out and get one right away, at least in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to be behind technology, and all of a sudden I'll be left in the dust. At least that's the way it feels, doesn't it?
Well, I'm going to bring you up to speed. You know, it's an incredible technology, this Apple Pay, and as is the iPhone 6. I've used the Apple Pay actually this morning at Whole Foods myself, and being a health nut. And it's fascinating. It works effectively. It's a great technology solution for those that have been worried about being hacked, because you are not transmitting your credit card information in any way. It's a lot like the Bitcoin structure, where you use these advanced passwords, and your credit card is actually processed through a different merchant processor that's protected by Apple. So a smart system, a convenient system, one that's going on and being used in many ways in other countries. And what's fascinating is there's such a small amount of commerce that's actually being done by the smartphone. This will help to change that, as will the whole Bitcoin explosion that's coming, where money in the form of digital currency will become the new normal.
Okay, I'm going to play geek stupid here for just a moment, okay? You have everything in your phone. You've got all the numbers that are sitting there. Don't you still have to transmit something here? And if something is transmittable, doesn't that immediately make it hackable?
In theory, it could be hackable, but all that they're going to be able to recover is a very long string of password encoded digits. And it won't lead them anywhere because they won't have access to the phone itself. And so you're not transmitting like what normally would be done, your credit card information. That's not done at all. So it's a system that is really takes into consideration those concerns, and is much smarter and much clever, and really architected a lot like the Bitcoin industry is, where you have these encoded messages to other receiving ends or devices that where money is never really transmitted. It's just credits that are transmitted. So you can't get hurt. This is smart. The technology needs to be there, and it's safe, and it's something that I encourage people to use because it will make your life easier and a lot more efficient.
Eric, how fast are we moving towards a completely cashless society?
Well, I think in many ways a lot faster. These hacks that have happened have scared a lot of people. So there's been studies that have showed that people now are moving away from wanting to use credit cards online to cash. But these new technologies, this Apple Pay and Bitcoin, will change that. It will make people feel safe because they'll see that they actually are protected, far greater than ever before. And so I think there will come a time in which the concept of cash, a fiat currency in your hand that you can actually touch, will be a far distant memory. It's going to become much greater, the whole digital explosion in terms of currency, and much more a common part of our everyday.
I won't have to carry around the $20 of quarters in my car now to go ahead and feed the parking meter from now on. All right, let's go ahead and move now. Speaking of cars and what fuels cars, oils, automobiles, and there's a lot of discussion here about oil being the new weapon. Now, this has been around for a while, talking about the oil weapon. We spoke about this probably back in the OPEC days at least. But is it not fair to say that now, with America suddenly, seemingly suddenly, all of a sudden becoming such a major oil exporter, or producer, I should say, in itself, that we now have another weapon here, and we use this weapon, and we wield this very effectively around the globe.
Well said. We, for those of you that don't know, oil is really, oil production is really at a renaissance in this country, in the form of shale. And what shale is it's a different form, almost a sideways form of getting at oil in this great country. And it is allowing us to be able to produce our own energy, our own internal energy, in the form of about almost 9 million barrels for the month. And what that means from a country perspective is we're far less reliant on Saudi Arabian oil, and we're actually affecting the price of oil now internationally. So much so that it's concerning the Saudis. And what the Saudis have done is really begin what I consider to be an oil war, in the form of attempting to keep their price lower than the $90 a barrel, which they have to be at. And by the way, the price of oil right now is hurting some of our biggest enemies. Iran, which has to be in around $100 to $120 a barrel of oil. Certainly Russia, that has to be above $100 a barrel of oil. And so what the Saudis are doing is they figure that they don't want to hurt themselves long term. And so they're trying to squeeze the producers of oil in this country that are doing shale. And the producers have to be at between $70 to $80. Once you get lower than $70 a barrel of shale, a lot of these productions can't afford to stay active. And so they're going to go bust. And the Saudis, I believe, are counting on that. So they're attempting to enter into this war with the American production. And it'll be interesting to see what happens. Some of our great companies that are producing oil are going to struggle if this continues. I anticipate to see oil go down even further, somewhere into the sub 80 range. And then it'll be a question of how long the Saudis can really play this game. And I'm hoping that our country and the companies that are within it that are producing oil will hang tough and continue to produce the level that they are through this war, because it's a great thing for the country. There's no question about it.
Eric, as long as we get down to 2 gallons of gas by the holiday season, by the time Hanukkah and Christmas rolls around, everybody's going to be good. We're all going to feel a lot better. So, but we'll wait to see.
I hope that's the case, my friend.
You and me both. Eric Schiffer, thanks so much for joining us, my friend. Talk to you again soon.
Okay, take care.
Later on this hour, every single Catholic around the world must answer a simple question, and we'll pose it